Hey folks, I know you've seen this guitar before, but I'm going to use it to sort of demonstrate a topic I wanted to talk to today about today. I know that we've visited this before, but it's been a while. But what I want to talk about is brand consciousness. Now this guitar right here is one of the nicest acoustic guitars, one of the best acoustic guitars that I've set up and had for sale for quite some time. It beats out vendors, guilds, Gretches, quite a few, Alvarez, quite a few brands I've had lately. This is nicer. It's got this sort of, I don't know if I can show you inside. No, you're never going to be able to see that, but it's got a carved out X brace. It's got holes carved in them to give you optimum tone. I did a video on this a while back, so you can go there if you want to research it. It's G570 ETB Walden guitar. Now this guitar, which is a solid top guitar with great electronics, has been sitting in my inventory for a while without selling. And it's kind of weird because I see so many lesser quality guitars come and go that get picked. It's like having a puppy in a kennel and people keep picking the ugly ones and leaving the best one in the kennel. Well, that's the case with this guitar, and the reason why it hasn't been grabbed yet is simply because it says Walden on the headstock and not Fender or Guild or Martin or Taylor or something like that. And people are really brand conscious. If you notice that, you know, most people who wear t-shirts with brands on them like Adidas or Nike or gosh, there are so many other brands that I can't think of. That's how unbrand conscious I am. You notice how it's always the very famous, well-known multi-millionaire corporations. You don't see too many people wearing a tennis shirt or a t-shirt or tennis shoes with some unknown brand on, advertising some unknown brand. It's a sort of status thing, and I see it a lot in the guitar community. People are more liable to buy a guitar if it's a recognized brand than if it's not. And in some ways you can't really blame them, because we're all sort of subliminally programmed. Whether what we wear, what we eat, you know, the places we go, the places we shop, we tend to stick to recognized brands that have, a long-held reputation for good products and good business, or at least that's the perception that's put out about that particular brand. I don't personally think Nike tennis shoes are any better than some of the cheap brands, and a lot of times they're made in the same factories, but that swoosh means everything. That logo means everything to some people. It's a status symbol. And I find something like that going on in the guitar world a little bit. And this is not sour grapes that this hasn't sold. I might keep this. That's how much I like this guitar. So if I do, I'll be glad it didn't sell. But it's really interesting that when somebody looks at a couple of guitars, and this is so obviously better quality, better sounding, better woods, better craftsmanship than the other guitar, they'll still pick the other guitar because it has Fender or something like that on it. You come across that a lot, and you come across it interestingly with experienced buyers, people who sort of develop a slave mentality towards certain brands. And you get it amongst newbies and beginners and neophytes as well, because there's something in their consciousness that says, my first guitar's got to be a Fender. It's got to be a Fender. I know the name Fender. I don't know the name Walden. What's a Walden? Isn't that a book? Isn't that a long meditation on the natural world? I'm talking about Thoreau, of course. You know that. Walden, never heard of it. If it said Walden Pond, maybe that would ring a bell in somebody's head, but it doesn't. It just says Walden. Now, to me, this is a pretty well-known and reputable brand, but to your average guitar buyer or somebody looking for a guitar for their kid, they're not going to know that. it doesn't ring a bell. It doesn't sound like something I should have. It's sparks of risk. It sparks of, I've never heard of that brand. Can it be any good? And unfortunately, we have to deal with this in the guitar world, just as in everything else. But I would encourage you to try and bypass that sometimes and really look at something for what it is. Ignore what it says up here, cover it if you want, and take the guitar and play it. And look at the guitar, weigh the guitar, twirl the guitar in your hands, have a tactile experience with it. See how it responds to chords, to finger picking. Clip my nails. Something you didn't need to know about me, but I'm tripping over. I've let my nails get quite long, and I tend to play with my tips, not my nails. So, but anyway, the whole point is ignore what's up here, because I guarantee you, if you're playing this in a store, and then the guy hands to you a Fender about the same price, or maybe a little bit less even, it's not going to be as good as this. For Fender, as I've said before, and even Gibson and other brands that are well known, you really have to get into the upper mid range to hit the sweet stuff. For Fender, for me, it's Paramount. Once you get to the Paramount series, they're really good guitars. I got one coming next week, I'll show you. They're really good guitars. Some of the California series are okay, but I'm not thrilled about the surf colors that they do those in. The natural ones are really good, but the cheap Fenders, the 100 series, the 115 FA 115s and all that, to me those are pretty cheap guitars. They don't sound that good. However, somebody's more likely to buy one of those than this, because there's something in the brain that tells you, this has got to be good, but this doesn't, because of name recognition. I would just encourage as many of you as possible to forego that, deliberately test non-brands against brands and see if you get the same results every time. Now, sometimes you're going to find that the branded guitars from reputable companies are going to be better, but it's not always the case. And there are some brands that people don't know about that are very, very good, like Walden, like Teton, like Art and Luthery, like Simon and Patrick, even Seagull were very well known for some people. There's loads of them. There's a good 20-25 brands that make really good quality guitars that aren't as well known as the top 4 brands that we gravitate towards. Now, there are some terrible guitars on the market, also made by brands that we've never heard of. However, you shouldn't let that cloud your judgment and think that anything outside of the big 4 brands is going to be that bad, because it isn't. There's a lot of treasures. That's why this channel exists. There's a lot of treasures in these lesser known branded areas of guitar commerce. So this one here is particularly nice, articulate. I love the weight of it. I love these OM shaped guitars. There's a reason why Tommy Emmanuel plays an OM and not a dreadnought. There's something about this size of guitar that's really, really appealing, particularly for fingerstyle playing. Keep your mind open and don't just gravitate towards the names you know. You'll be surprised how many good things there are out there that have a name on the headstock that you will not have heard of, or you don't know a lot about, or you might have to go and research. That's all I wanted to say about that. This is just a living, at the moment, it's living on my rack and constantly reminding me that people don't always make the right choices. They go with recognized names and they miss out on an opportunity that might be better. There are other examples of this, and I'll show as we go, but this just happens to be the one that has caught my attention lately. So, just ignore what's on the headstock and look at other things when looking through guitars or making decisions about guitars or any instrument, really. All right, folks. See you on the next one. I'm going to go play this.